I mean, isn't it dangerous that we start something? I mean, isn't that why it is dangerous to start trends in the very first instance? Because what some people would say is that what we're saying is that these things are okay and another person can come and improve on it. Isn't that right?
No, I don't understand what you're saying. I really don't get it.
Okay, but let me take the conversation away from there.
Yes.
Perhaps we can come back to that later when we begin to talk politics.
Okay.
Now, you have talked about patriotism being to stand by the country.
Precisely.
Would you say that you have stood by Nigeria, considering the fact that you seem to have, you know, spoken up when separatist leaders have been held? It's common knowledge that you stood surety for Nnamdi Kanu, who was leader of IPOB.
Yes.
Also in 2007, you protested when Ralph Wazirike, as the leader of MASOB, was also held by the then government of, I think, President Obasanjo.
Precisely.
Why would you say that consistently you have, you know, spoken up in support of these leaders?
Because there is Section 36 that gives you rights. And all what we're saying is that you cannot circumscribe somebody's rights. People have a right to even say, I don't want to be in this country, so long as they are not disturbing the right of another person to say, I want to be in this country. The basic rights of every human being, which is fundamental, is what we're talking about. Why would, you understand me, somebody just carry a flag and say, I'm this person? Fine. He has a right to his own opinion, doesn't affect you, does not disturb anybody. And you clamp down on him, you send the military after him, you proscribe him, and then somebody is carrying an AK-47 and running around and killing people in the same country, and rather than do something about it, you're asking those who are being killed to try to live with their neighbor. You don't live with a murderer as your neighbor.
Senator, some people will say that the situation is not that simple. And, you know, in terms of the kind of crisis that was being started, you know, by IPOB, they would say that it's not that simple. And we saw what happened. I mean, let me ask, what was that was different that IPOB did that warranted the heavy-handed assault on them and the killing of so many of them, and the immediate proscription, as opposed to people that were seen, killed people, burnt villages, went around rampaging everywhere, all the whole Benue and Niger Valley. But this was a prescription that southeastern governors supported.
That is not the point. The point I'm saying is that when you treat people unequally, necessarily somebody will feel that because of the unequal treatment, maybe they are no longer members of the same community. So if all of us are in the same community of Nigeria, you will expect that the way you treat one person is also the same way you treat another person. That is what brings about unity within a country.
Senator, you know, some people listening to you would think that you were some human rights campaigner. I mean, the way you've been talking about rights. But, you know, they will argue that all that you have done is politics. I mean, it's political. This is to gain political leverage. In fact, they allege that a lot of political leaders in the Southeast let the crisis, let it happen, let it go on, and in some cases fueled it because they thought they could use it as a negotiation tool. But it backfired. What do you say to those people?
Those people are very, very far from the truth. I am elected to represent people. And so what I bring is their feelings. And if they don't feel happy, I have an obligation to come out and say, these, my people, are not happy for A, B, C, D. Don't forget that we made efforts. Nobody can take that away. And this government knows it. I, as the chairman of the Southeast Caucus, the Southeast Caucus made efforts to meet with Mr. President. And the reason why we went there was that there was so much feeling of alienation from the Southeast. And we went. And we put everything down. We wrote it down and we discussed with the president. And we said to him, you have to do some symbolic things to show these people that they are part of you. You know, from the time that the statement was made of those who voted for me and those who didn't vote for me, we knew that what that was signaling was an unequal treatment. And we also cried out and said, no, once an election is over, everybody now becomes your constituency.
But the president said that much in his statement. I mean, even though that statement, it was still only a certain part was read, in the later part of that statement, he said, even if I wanted to, the Constitution prevents me from treating people unfairly.
That is what we're saying. The Constitution actually does, but the Constitution was not observed. The Constitution was observed in the breach. We said, how would you want to have an inclusive government? You understand? How do you do that? You do that by the way that you distribute powers and
we will come to that shortly because
we
have to take a moment now. Politics in the Senate heated up quite a bit before it finally went on recess. Now, how does Senator Abaribe think the current wave of defections which took place in the upper chamber affect his party's chances, as the PDP chances, in the forthcoming elections? In a moment, please stay with us.